Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Puma evoPOWER 1.2 in the latest comic book inspired POW colorway. So as you can see, it does come in a color coordinated blue box as opposed to the standard red ones to match the shoes. It comes with a sleeve on top of the box as well. One side has the POW graphic, the other side has the BAM graphic. So you're going to find both of those on the shoes, which you'll see in just a second. Watch me struggle with this sleeve for a couple seconds here because it's on there way too tight. And then on the inside, they do include a string bag with this particular colorway. The string bag is blue in color with orange strings, and you're going to find the BAM graphic there on the front, along with the Puma logo in yellow right there at the bottom. Nothing on the back, and other than that, all you're going to find inside the box, as you can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly, and we'll take a closer look at what is arguably the most unique colorway of 2015. They stand out a lot. And they really do demand attention. It's a very cool, interesting looking shoe. And of course, in today's video, we're going to be taking a closer, detailed look at the colorway itself. We're going to be talking tech specs, performance, take a look at the weight of the shoe, as well as talk about how these things fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more about this particular colorway of the Puma evoPOWER 1.2, please stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's take a closer look at the colorway. Now, like I mentioned at the start of the video, these things are inspired by old school comic books, which is pretty clear to see once you get a good look at the shoe. It's an interesting concept, and I'd be curious to hear what your opinions are on the appearance of this shoe down below in the comment section. But before you do that, I will say that once I saw these shoes online for the first time, I wasn't crazy about them, but in person, they look really, really good. Puma did a good job with executing this comic book style graphic on the upper by doing a couple different things. One, I think the choice of color is really, really good. You have a white base for the majority of the upper. You have a bright blue, a lighter blue, an orange, as well as yellow and black kind of as accent colors that just look really, really good. And it's also cool that they went with a matte finish on the upper, which gives it more of kind of an old school printed comic book look that just, again, kind of plays into the whole concept of the design that much further. And again, just makes them look that much more unique. It's a very, very interesting looking shoe. Certainly over the top, which isn't for everybody, but me being somebody who tends to like more low profile stuff, I really like how these look. I'd be happy to wear them as flashy as they are. So we have a white base to the upper with a matte finish, which will make this shoe a little bit more prone to scuffing than the regular colorways of the Puma evoPOWER 1.2, so keep that in mind. With that being said, they still did implement the grip text texturing in all the spots here that it would normally be, which is kind of difficult to see. It's somewhat hidden by the graphic, but either way, that grip text texturing really isn't going to do much in terms of providing extra grip on the ball. It's one of those features that, in my opinion, has next to no impact on performance. White base to the upper. The only part of the shoe that looks kind of normal, I suppose, is the lateral side where you have the bright orange form stripe here with the black outline. Then you have this polka dot graphic that is more bold and a little bit bigger towards the peel area and then kind of fades to the point where it's completely gone here in the forefoot and toe box. You have your evoPOWER branding there. Right here on the medial side, kind of in the main striking part of your foot, you're going to find the POW graphic that has this kind of 3D look to it. Definitely pops off the shoe, and it just looks really, really cool. It's in bright yellow. There's an explosion happening behind it, a light blue cloud. It's just really, really over the top, very cartoonish, which is obviously what they were going for. You have the EverFit cage here, which does transition into a shiny material, which you're also going to find on the heel. The heel is mostly a bright blue. Then you're going to find the BAM graphic there in yellow, orange, and black, which again is equally as unique as the POW graphic right there on the front. On the bottom, the sole plate, they maintain tons of different colors here. It's got a blue base, it's got a white spine, it's got orange studs, and then it's got little yellow accents throughout as well. The laces are white with orange polka dots. The orange isn't quite the same as the rest of the orange on the shoe, but it's pretty close and still does look pretty good. You have the polka dots on the tongue. The memory foam cushions on the tongue are blue in color, and then the heel liner even has a combination of blue and bright orange as well. So everything ties in. They thought of every little detail here, and like I said, it definitely does show in the final product in that they created a comic book shoe shoe for real life. So if you're a fan of old school comic books, or you just like the combination of colors like I do, this is definitely one of those colorways to consider, because the evoPOWER 1.2 is a really, really good shoe, which is what we're going to talk about next in the video. So let me know down below in the comment section, do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about how these things actually perform. As far as performance is concerned, the evoPOWER 1.2 is definitely one of those shoes that does not get the attention that it deserves. It's a very, very strong performer, especially when it comes to striking the ball. Now, in order to explain the evoPOWER line and the evoPOWER concept, you have to break down three separate elements that essentially Puma came to as conclusions when making the evoPOWER line in the first place. And I'm going to be very general here for the sake of not making this video 25 minutes long. The first element is that less padding makes for more power in your strike. The second element being that more flexibility in the shoe makes for more power on your strike. And the third element being that more padding makes for a more accurate strike on the ball. So those three elements are kind of what the evoPOWER design is all about. Now I'm going to say right off the bat, these shoes are not going to make your shot more accurate, and they're certainly not going to make your shot more powerful. But what they will offer is perhaps one of the most unique and arguably one of the best striking experiences you can get from any soccer shoe on the market. So just to give you guys kind of a side video, if you are interested in learning more about the most powerful soccer shoe, that's actually the title of the video, I'll leave an annotation on screen. You can go ahead and check it out. It's me testing out shoes with a radar gun, seeing which one is actually the most powerful. It's a very interesting video. One of my personal favorites, honestly, in that it truly does show that power is down to the person wearing the shoes, not the shoes themselves. So if you want to check out that video, there's some really cool information there. Go ahead and watch it, but we're going to continue on with this one. So those three concepts, remember them. Thinner equals more power, more padding equals more accuracy, and better flexibility also results in more power. So to create the thinner equals more power concept, or to allow for that element to be in the shoe, they incorporated what they call an adapt-lite synthetic material, which is quite thin. It has somewhat of a padded feel to it, but for the most part, it's thin, it's extremely soft, it's very, very flexible, and it's a one-way stretch microfiber as well, meaning that it'll stretch this way, but it won't stretch this way. So you're gonna get the ability for the shoe to flex forward very easily and even flex backwards, but it's not going to lack structure side to side. So it's still a very responsive locked-in sensation when you have the laces pulled tight, but tons of flexibility and just a very natural sensation when running and striking the ball in these shoes, which is really, really nice. Now within that adapt-lite synthetic material is what they call AccuFoam, and that's what you can see within the actual synthetic itself in the form of all of these embossed lines here. All of the raised parts are actually AccuFoam padding, and it's kind of difficult to see it with this particular colorway because it's all covered up. Normally the graphics would flow with the padding as opposed to in every other direction, but it is in fact there, and it's a very thin layer of foam that again runs with the concept that more padding is going to equal better accuracy. So what you're getting here is a shoe that feels thin, but at the same time it has that little bit of padding to take the edge off. It's kind of an unusual sensation, doesn't really compare to anything else at the moment, but feels very, very good. So again, it depends on what you're looking for. I wouldn't compare it to a leather shoe in terms of the padding that it provides. The AccuFoam padding, or the AccuFoam foam, I should say, is definitely a lot firmer than you might expect it to be, especially in comparison to the original evoPOWER. But like I said, it's a very satisfying sensation when you actually strike the ball, in that it's responsive, but at the same time, there's a little bit of a controlled sensation due to that little bit of padding that you have with the combination of AccuFoam and adapt-lite covering your foot. Laces are off-centered, as you guys can see, which leaves you with a kind of a cleaner striking area right here where the POW branding is located. I mentioned earlier in the video the GripTex texturing it is still on this particular colorway, although it's very, very minor even on the regular ones, and based on what I could tell when wearing these shoes, nothing that actually impacted grip on the ball. And then basically the last element you have to talk about in regards to the evoPOWER concept is the flexibility of the sole plate, and that's what they call their gradual stability frame. The GSF branding is right there, meaning that it's going to be nice and stiff through the midfoot, but at the very base of the midfoot it still does have some flexibility, and the forefoot, it's very thin. You have these two flex zones here, and essentially this shoe is meant to bend backwards, something that you wouldn't normally see in a soccer shoe. Normally it's more stiff than that, and you just wouldn't be able to do this. So the concept concept behind that is when you actually strike a ball with no shoes on at all, your toes curl back and your foot bends backwards a little bit, which results in better power in your strike. So they're trying to more or less replicate that while wearing a pair of shoes with this evoPOWER concept. So that one-way stretch microfiber, as well as the very flexible P-back sole plate, allows the shoe to bend backwards ever so slightly when you make contact with the ball, giving you the sensation of striking a ball with no shoes on at all, at least to a certain extent. It's definitely not the same as shooting a ball barefoot, but it's as close as you're going to get in comparison to anything else out there on the market in terms of how the upper feels as well as how the sole plate feels, because most of the time you're just not going to get that backwards flex sensation from any pair of soccer shoes. With that being said, the backwards flex thing is not something you're going to notice every time you strike the ball in the evoPOWER. It's something that you only really feel when you get that perfect shot off, and it's a very satisfying sensation. It's really interesting because, like I said, when you get it, when you hit it properly, you'll know you hit it properly because you'll feel the shoe working the way it's supposed to. So if anything, it's not something that's going to impact performance in any way, but it's kind of an actual reminder that you struck the ball as good as you possibly could have in that particular situation. So for that reason alone, I really find the evoPOWER 1.2 a really unique shoe to wear in general. Laces are off-centered, like I mentioned. The tongue is a thinner synthetic with 3 memory foam pads running through the middle just to cut down on any kind of lace bite, just make for a comfortable fit and feel in general. Heel counter is fully internal, as you guys can see. You do have the EverFit cage, external EverFit cage, sorry, running here through the medial side, but it's in such a weird place with no kind of tightening spots that you don't really notice it whatsoever when you're actually wearing the shoe. It's just something they put there for the sake of marketing, I suppose, just to make the shoe seem more high-tech than it actually is. And then on the back, you have a pretty standard cut. It's square at the back as opposed to rounded like the evoPOWER 1, which I personally prefer. It's got a smooth synthetic leather liner with tons of padding there, so step-in comfort, not an issue whatsoever. The insole is fully removable. It features a mesh liner on top. It's made from a single layer of this thinner white foam, and then you have this perforated yellow foam that's just as thick, running through the heel as well as the forefoot and toe box area. So you get plenty of underfoot cushioning with this particular shoe while still maintaining really good flexibility, because like I said, the sole plate is made from P-backs. It's extremely thin, especially in this forefoot area. So if you are playing on harder ground, you're going to have some issues with stud pressure and potential discomfort just because of how thin the sole plate is. It's definitely one of those sole plates, along with the thickness of it and just the aggressiveness of the studs being a little bit longer and fairly narrow in profile. It's more geared towards nicer natural grass fields. So just keep that in mind if you plan on picking these up. If you play on really hard ground, probably not the best option for you, but if you play on nicer grass fields, you're unlikely to have any issues as far as discomfort is concerned. But like I said, the experience of running in these things, because they're so flexible, both in the sole plate and the upper, they just feel very, very natural and very comfortable from right out of the box. There's minimal break-in time required with this particular shoe. And as far as the stud pattern is concerned, you have a combination of bladed and conical studs. The conical studs are used as kind of more of an aggressive type stud at the front. You can see the front 4 here are conical in shape. They're fairly long and they're fairly narrow in profile. They dig into the ground and provide plenty of bite, while the blades are used more like as stability studs, which you can actually see right here. It says stability blade. Hopefully that'll focus. There it goes. And basically that's there for your lateral cuts, meaning that you're going to have a bladed stud that's going to provide a little bit more kind of bite when pushing off in comparison to a conical studs. And same thing at the base of the shoe in the heel. You're going to find just more stability from the bladed stud as opposed to a thinner conical stud would provide. So that's pretty much it as far as the stud pattern is concerned. It works very, very well. It feels honestly pretty similar to what you're going to get from the EvoSpeed line. It's kind of loosely based off of that to a certain extent. And overall, as far as traction is concerned, if you are on a nice natural grass field, it's very aggressive and just very good. No complaints here whatsoever. And overall, evoPOWER 1.2, it's a very, very unique package. It's a difficult shoe to explain. Hopefully I wasn't too confusing in my explanation of what it's all about. But basically, if what I said sounds good to you, this is one of those shoes that you're very likely to thoroughly enjoy wearing. If you're not overly familiar with the evoPOWER 1.2, you probably wouldn't know that they are a lot lighter than you might expect. So I'm going to weigh this pair for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9.5 US. we're going to throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 7 ounces exactly, the equivalent of 198 grams, which, for comparison's sake, that is about the same weight, if not a little bit lighter, than a pair of Nike Mercurial Superfly 4s in the exact same size, which is a shoe that is very, very light. As far as thin synthetics go, these are pretty much as light as anything you can buy aside from maybe the Nike Mercurial Vapor 10, and I would argue is one of the most comfortable thin synthetic shoes that money can buy as well. So if all of the features that I explained throughout this entire video sound good to you, plus you want a shoe that's relatively lightweight on your feet, the evoPOWER 1.2 is definitely one of those shoes that, again, you should really strongly consider. All right, so here is a look at the evoPOWER 1.2s on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I have a pair of black and white chevron SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You can find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, they're very comfortable from right out of the box. The upper is thin, but it has a nice softness to it due to all the AccuFoam that's actually part of the Adapt Light synthetic upper. Plus, it's very flexible, so whether you're flexing forward or flexing backwards, which is kind of hard to do at a standstill, but it does actually bend backwards, the effect is amplified when you're actually striking a ball. Either way, very flexible shoes, very comfortable, and really the only thing that's breaking in with this shoe from brand new is just getting used to how they feel. Other than that, you're unlikely to have too many issues as far as discomfort is concerned. As far as the width of the shoe goes, it is a thin synthetic shoe, but it has more width to it than most thin synthetic shoes out there. So they're going to be suitable for just about everybody. If you have really, really wide feet, maybe synthetic shoes in general aren't the best option, but like I said, these will fit most people. One thing to note regarding the fit of this shoe is that it is a Puma evoPOWER, so it does have that anatomic shaping to it. It's not a perfectly rounded toe. It comes to a bit of a point at the big toe and then kind of curves around like the natural shape of a foot. That's something that does bother some people. I have no issues with it whatsoever, and in fact, it's something I really like about the Evo Speed and evoPOWER lines from Puma, but if that is something that bothers you, again, just keep it in mind if you were planning on considering these. As far as sizing is concerned, they run about a half size small, which is not uncharacteristic for Puma. So instead of wearing my usual size 9 US, I bumped it up to a 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going a half size up in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the POW comic book inspired colorway of the Puma evoPOWER 1.2. If you guys are interested in more info on this shoe, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal retail price, as well as high quality images of this exact pair that I took myself that'll give you a better idea as to how these actually do look in person. So again, if you're interested in a pair for yourself, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding the evoPOWER 1.2, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.